everyone, welcome to Botany Insider, and in this lecture we would be discussing about two important plant hormones, that is the jasmonic and the abscisic acid in complete detail. So first of all, let us understand about the abscisic acid. So abscisic acid in general words is also given the name of the stress hormone. And why? Because this hormone actively participates during the condition of stress, that is when a plant undergoes some stressful condition, and those stressful condition could be less of water present, or there is very high amount of water, and there could be other stresses also that are faced by the plant. So when a plant faces these kind of stress, abscisic acid comes into play and helps to safeguard the plant from these stresses till the time the plant returns back to the favorable conditions. So when we talk about the structure, so it is a 5-carbon sesquiterpene compound, and the molecular formula for the abscisic acid is C15H20 and O4. Make sure you remember this molecular formula. And as the change in the molecular structure occurs, it could lead to the loss of activity. So it helps us to understand that if there is change in the structure of this molecule, or if there is any change to this composition of 15:20:4, there could occur the loss of the activity of this hormone. And this hormone exists in the cis form, which is biologically active, and if it is present in the trans form, it is inactive. What do we mean by cis and trans? So instead of going in complete detail, let me make you understand it by the help of a simple diagram. So consider, if we have this hormone and the structure contains of these 4 compounds, that is, 2 of them are OH and H, and on the similar side we have OH, H and other 2. So if there are same components on the same side, it is known as cis, and if it would be present on the opposite sides, it would be known as the trans form. So it exists in the cis form, which is biologically active, and if it occurs in the trans form, it would be biologically inactive or infunctional. So when we talk about the structure, so it is a cyclohexane ring which contains a keto, a hydroxyl and a terminal carboxylic acid. You need not to remember the complete structure. That is the reason why I have not mentioned the structure. Just remember that it is a cyclohexane ring which have a keto group, a hydroxyl group and a terminal carboxylic acid. It is also called as dormin because it plays important role in the bud dormancy. And what is dormancy, about which we have already discussed? So dormancy is a condition, or dormancy is a state of a bud or any plant part which occurs when that particular plant part has any stressful or unfavorable condition. So it underwent into, or it goes into a hibernation period, and that hibernation period in case of the plants is known as the dormancy condition. So because this plant hormone, that is the abscisic acid, plays a very important role in the bud dormancy, it is also called a dormin. It is also involved in abscission. And what is abscission? Abscission actually means falling, or we can also call it as senescence. And what is senescence? Senescence in simple word means aging of the plant. So this plant hormone is also involved in abscission or senescence. It inhibits growth, it inhibits the stomatal opening when the plant is under stress. So you can see this plant hormone is actually protecting the plant from the stress. Hence it is inhibiting the growth, it is inhibiting the stomatal opening if there is less of water present, and it is also playing very important role in the bud dormancy. So the important function of the abscisic acid are, the first one is that it inhibits the stomatal opening. It is a kind of a stress hormone. It inhibits the root and the shoot growth. It promotes dormancy and it inhibits germination. That is the reason why it inhibits the gibberellic acid. And what are gibberellic acid, about which we have already discussed in the previous video. So gibberellic acid was the hormone which was breaking the dormancy and it was promoting the germination. But abscisic acid is working in complete opposite way. That is, it is promoting dormancy and it is inhibiting germination. Hence, it works antagonistically to the gibberellic acid. It increases or it promotes the leaf senescence, that is, it promotes the falling of the leaves, and finally it accumulates in the dormant bud, hence it plays important role in bud dormancy. So in case of stress, that is the stress of water, when there is less of water potential in or around the plant, so the abscisic acid would promote the root growth and it would inhibit the shoot growth. Why? Let us understand. So consider this is a plant and this plant is facing water stress condition, that is, there is less of water present. And now, because we know that roots are the part of plant that actually helps the plant to absorb the water from the soil, and shoots are the part that leads to the loss of the water from the plant by the transpiration process. So because the abscisic acid is a stress hormone, so it would help the plant to have more water and less water lost from the plant. So it would promote the root growth so that the plant could actually absorb more water from the soil and the underground water source, and it would inhibit the shoot growth, hence leading to less of water loss from the leaves of the plant. So this is the reason why in the stressful condition at low water potential, the abscisic acid promotes the root growth and inhibits the shoot growth. Make sure you remember this. It is very important as some questions have been framed from this area. Let's move forward and understand about the biosynthesis pathway. First important point to remember is that it occurs in two plant organelles. The first one is the plastids and the second one is the cytosol. First, the pathway begins in the plastid and then it moves forwards to the cytosol where the final abscisic acid is produced. The precursor molecule for the biosynthesis is IPP, that is isopentyl pyrophosphate, and this IPP in the plastid starts to get converted into zeaxanthin, which is a 40 carbon compound, and this zeaxanthin gets converted into voilaxanthin by the help of an enzyme that is known as zeaxanthin epioxidase. And this voilaxanthin gets converted into neoxanthin, and this neoxanthin after formation gets transported from the plastid into the cytosol and gets converted into xanthozine. And finally, this xanthozine after getting converted into ABA aldehyde gets converted into the final required product, that is the abscisic acid. The only important things to remember in this biosynthesis pathway is first, the precursor molecule, which is the IPP. Second, the organelles involved, that is, first is the plastid and second the cytosol. So remember it in sequence, that is P and then C. First we have plastid and then we have cytosol. So remember it in sequence because questions are framed from this area. And the next important point to remember is that which compound is transported from the plastid to the cytosol. So it is the neoxanthin which is transported. And the last point to remember is that in which organelle is the final abscisic acid produced. It is the cytosol where the final abscisic acid is produced. And when we talk about the transport of the abscisic acid, so it occurs by the help of, or it occurs through the xylem, phloem and the parenchyma, all three together. So now let us understand about the signaling of the abscisic acid. You need not to go into the complete detail of the signaling. The only important points to remember would be highlighted. So make sure you remember or make sure you have a complete focus on those points, because the abscisic acid plays the most important role in closing of the stomata during the stressful condition. So we'll understand it in the same organelle. So we have the stomata. So initially the abscisic acid by the help of the membrane protein enters, and this abscisic acid enters into various pathways. One could be ROS, the other one could be IP3 signaling. These signaling are the components of the unit 2 about which we would be studying in the near future. When the abscisic acid initiate these signaling, the main function of these signaling is to open the calcium channel. When these signaling are initiated, we have the calcium channel open and we have the calcium accumulated in the stomata, and because of the accumulation of the calcium, it leads to the increase or the initiation of the chlorine channel activated, and also it leads to the closing of the H plus ion channel, or it leads to the deactivation of the H plus ions. And along with all this, it also leads to opening of the K plus ion channels. So in order to understand that why K plus and why Cl minus are getting involved in this pathway, we need to have a clear understanding of the stomatal opening and closing. We would be understanding about this in complete detail in the future videos. For the time being, just remember abscisic acid plays a very important role in closing of the stomata, and second, abscisic acid plays a initiation role in order to have the calcium ion channel opened so that calcium could be accumulated into the stomata so that the further functioning could occur. So this was all about the signaling, and at the final step we have the K plus channel blocked. And why they are blocked? Because the calcium leads to the inhibition of the K plus ion channels. So these are the important points that we need to remember, that we need to understand in the abscisic acid plant hormone. Let's move forward and understand about the jasmonic acid plant hormone. So jasmonic acid is an organic compound. It is a member of the jasmonate class. It is volatile and it is present in the essential oils. The highest level of the jasmonic acid is found in the flowers and the reproductive tissues, and the least or the lower level is found in the root and the mature leaves. So with this we can make out that jasmonic acid is playing important role in the fragrance. So at a concentration which is more than 50 micrometer, jasmonate or the jasmonic acid induces senescence in the plant. It induces cell culture, and it also causes the degradation in the chloroplast protein and also the loss of the chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? We have already discussed in complete detail in the photosynthesis lectures. So if you have not watched them, please do watch those videos as well for a clear understanding. Understand about the biosynthesis, and talking about the location, the biosynthesis mainly occurs in the chloroplast and the peroxisome, and it occurs by the help of octadecanoid pathway, and the precursor molecule is the alpha linolenic acid. Let's understand about the biosynthesis now. So initially we have alpha linolenic acid as a precursor molecule, and this in the plastids gets converted into the peroxide, where a oxygenation reaction takes place by the help of an enzyme which is known as lipoxygenase. Then the peroxide gets converted into allyl oxide. In this step there occurs a cyclization in the presence of the enzyme allyl oxide synthase, and this allyl oxide leads to the rearrangement and forms 12-oxo-phytodionic acid by the help of the enzyme allyl oxide cyclase, and this 12-oxo-phytodionic acid gets transported to the peroxisome, and the final step of the formation of jasmonic acid takes place, and this formation takes place by the action of reductase. And also important point to remember is there occurs 6 oxidation during this conversion of the final step into the jasmonic acid. Initially we have plastids, which are a type of a chloroplast, and then the peroxisome completing the biosynthesis process. So let's understand about the last point, that is the signaling of the jasmonic acid. So first point to remember is that it occurs by the help of ubiquitin and 26S proteasomal pathway. Next point to remember is that there are two cases. First one, when there is no jasmonic acid present, and in the second case when the jasmonic acid is present. So we have two important components. First one is MYC2, that is the transcription factor, and the JAS, which is a jasmonate. Initially, when the jasmonic acid is absent, so this JAS holds the MYC2 and the JAS responsive genes all together, and no work is seen as the JAS have inhibited the functioning of the jasmonic acid response genes. But when the jasmonic acid is present, the JAS gets degraded by the help of 26S proteasomal ubiquitin pathway, and these jasmonic acid responsive genes become functional, and the functioning could be seen. All the regulations and all the functions that need to be performed by the jasmonic acid are seen in the plant. So this was all about the signaling that we need to keep in mind. The most important highlighted point is that the receptor of this complete signaling is the COI1, which is known as coronative insensitive 1. So it is a statement directly picked from the previous year question paper. So make sure you remember, in the signaling of the jasmonic acid, the receptor that is used is COI1, that is coronative insensitive 1. So talking about the functions of the jasmonic acid, the first one is it helps in the regulation of biotic and the abiotic stress. The next function is that it helps in plant growth and development to an extent. It leads to growth inhibition and senescence. It inhibits pollen germination. It acts against the pests and the herbivores. It is helpful in anti-pest defense. It inhibits root growth, and finally it inhibits the tendril coiling. And also it stimulates ethylene biosynthesis. That means it is working in favor of the ethylene, and because it is working in its favor, it stimulates fruit ripening, as this is the primary function of ethylene also. Next important point is that it stimulates the conversion of lycopene into 3-carotene. It is very important to remember because one question have been previously asked from this point. The last important function is that it is responsible for the tuber formation in the potatoes. So this was all about the jasmonic acid, the abscisic acid, and all the other important plant hormones in complete detail. So I hope this video was helpful for you. So if you like this video, please do like, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll be coming up very soon with a new topic as well. So thank you so much for watching, and